Hey horror fans, today I'm diving into the dark and chilling history of the Ketty Resort. Our story takes us back to April 1981, to a place notorious for its gruesome and unsolved murders. Picture this, a small, secluded cabin nestled in the woods of Northern California. Cabin number 28, where Sue Sharp and her children sought a fresh start. But instead of new beginnings, they met a horrifying end. On the night of April 11th, 1981, an unimaginable horror unfolded. Sue Sharp, her son John, and his friend Dana Hall Wingate were brutally murdered. Bound with electrical cords and medical tape, their lifeless bodies were discovered by Sue's daughter the next morning. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, Sue's youngest daughter, Tina, was missing. For 3 long years, her whereabouts remained an agonizing mystery, until in April 1984, her remains were found near Camp 18. The case left the community and investigators baffled, with no clear suspects or motives. But the story doesn't end with the murders. Oh no, it gets even eerier. The Ketty Resort has become a hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests have reported seeing chairs moving on their own and writing mysteriously appearing on walls. Imagine walking into a room and the temperature suddenly drops. You hear whispers when no one's around, and objects shift before your eyes. Some say it's the restless spirits of Sue, Tina, John, and Dana, forever trapped in the place of their tragic end. Why do these events occur? Is it the echoes of a nightmarish past? Or are the ghosts of the murdered seeking justice? No one really knows, but one thing's for sure. The Ketty Resort holds secrets that may never be uncovered. So, next time you find yourself in Northern California, perhaps you'll be brave enough to visit Cabin 28. Just remember, some spirits aren't too welcoming. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more haunting stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. End. You ever heard the stories about Alcatraz Island? I did. And let me tell you, they are chilling. Last summer, I decided to visit Alcatraz, the infamous maximum security prison turned museum. As the ferry approached the rocky island, an eerie fog rolled in, shrouding the old prison in a ghostly mist. I could feel the cold fingers of dread clutching at my spine. The tour guide led us through the dimly lit corridors, recounting tales of notorious inmates and daring escapes. But what I was really there for were the ghost stories. The unexplained screams, the phantom footsteps, the echoes of a banjo playing in the dead of night. We reached the solitary confinement cells, also known as the Hole. It was said the prisoners who spent time here often went mad. I stepped inside one of the cells, feeling the suffocating darkness closing in around me. Suddenly, the cell door slammed shut behind me. I spun around, but there was no one there. Just the oppressive silence and the shadows mocking my fear. Later, as we explored the cell blocks, I felt a sudden chill. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I turned to see nothing, but I knew I wasn't alone. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor, but no one was there. My heart pounded in my chest as I hurried to catch up with the tour group. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of a banjo playing softly. The mournful tune seemed to come from the walls themselves. I lay in bed, paralyzed with fear, as the music grew louder and more frantic. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Silence. On my last day, I stood on the edge of the island looking out over the water. A tour guide mentioned that many visitors reported hearing the cries of former inmates still trapped on the island. Just then, a blood-curdling scream pierced the air. I turned to see if anyone else had heard it, but everyone seemed oblivious. Was it just my imagination, or was it something more sinister? As I boarded the ferry to leave Alcatraz behind, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that the island wasn't quite ready to let me go. I left with more questions than answers, and a lingering fear that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Hey there, horror fans. Have you ever heard of the chilling tale of the Dogwood Road Ghost Girl? Well, buckle up, because this story is bound to send shivers down your spine. It all started on a dark, lonely stretch of Dogwood Road in El Centro, California. I was driving back home after a late-night shift, and the clock had just struck midnight. The road was eerily deserted, and a dense fog had settled, making visibility almost zero. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I saw her, a girl no older than 16, standing by the roadside, dressed in a white gown, her face pale as the moon. I couldn't just leave her there, could I? So, I pulled over and rolled down my window. "Do you need a ride?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She nodded, her eyes hollow and haunting. As soon as she got in, the temperature inside the car plummeted. I glanced at her through the rearview mirror. She just stared ahead, silent. I drove on, the tension in the air thickening with each passing second. After a few miles, she suddenly spoke. "I was killed on this road," she whispered. My heart skipped a beat. I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. Just as I was about to ask her more, she vanished. That's right. 1 second she was there, and the next, she was gone. I slammed on the brakes, the car skidding to a halt. I frantically searched the back seat, but she was nowhere to be found. I thought I might have imagined it all, but when I looked at the hood of my car, there she was, sitting cross-legged, a sinister smile on her face. Panic surged through me. I knew the legend: if you refused her a ride, she'd cause an accident. Before I could react, she lunged at the windshield, her ghostly hands reaching for me. I swerved, narrowly missing a tree, and when I looked again, she was gone. The road was empty, just as it had been before. To this day, I can't drive down Dogwood Road without feeling that icy grip of fear. So next time you're in El Centro and you see a girl in white after midnight, you know what to do. Pick her up or face her wrath. Stay safe out there and keep those headlights on.